The Trey Lance era is on hold. Now, when Jimmy Garoppolo originally went down, he had a torn UCL ligament in his thumb with an avulsion fracture, meaning the ligament tore a piece of the bone away from the thumb, a very painful injury and one that would take 4 to 6 weeks of recovery time, even if he had the surgery. So a lot of people, including myself, thought there was no way Garoppolo could be ready to go after just 16 days. I had made a mistake, and that mistake was underestimating Jimmy Garoppolo, because Garoppolo did indeed return and delivered a performance for the ages. Let's take a look at the film. It's the first drive of the game, and the Rams are facing a 3rd and long, so they're going to take a page out of Tennessee's playbook, leaving Sony Michel and Ben Skowronek in the block. Sort of. Michel is actually going to chip Arden Key, and Skowronek is going to chip Nick Bosa, and then they're both going to head out for pass routes. So the Rams send 5 receivers into the pattern, but they do everything they can to make sure Stafford has enough time. Now let's take a look at Dante Johnson, because we can see that he is all over Cooper Kupp. But eventually Cooper Kupp would break free and head downfield. Also notice that with Skowronek running a route, that draws the attention of safety Jaquiski Tartt. And because Stafford has enough time, he's able to find Cooper Kupp and get him the football downfield. The play would lead to a Rams field goal, and LA would strike first, going up 3-0. Rams house? I think these people in the stands might disagree. Now I say that somewhat jokingly, of course, but the fact of the matter is Stafford would later say that the Rams had trouble communicating because of all the noise generated by 49ers fans. Now this was a very long game that would go into overtime, and there's a lot of plays I want to show you guys, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit here to the second quarter, and as you can see, the Rams are threatening. They start off with a fake handoff, and that sucks in the defense. Tyler Higbee pretends to block, and then he goes out for a pass route. It's a simple play that's been around forever and ever, and the Rams execute it to perfection to go up 10-0. Jimmy Garoppolo would have a rough start to this game. You can see that Von Miller's got a shot on him right away, so Garoppolo just steps up in the pocket. But Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are well covered on this play. Now Garoppolo does have an outlet underneath to Elijah Mitchell, but notice his momentum is still carrying him forward, and A'Shawn Robinson is able to swipe at that football, swipe at that hand, and he knocks it out, and the ball is fumbled, and fortunately the 49ers recover. Now the 49ers do have to punt from deep inside their own territory. Never a good situation. And the Rams set themselves up really nicely for a return here. Check out all those blockers sealing off a wall for Brandon Powell. Mitch Wishnowsky sees this and tries to salvage the play. And he takes a big shot, and he is not moving. And from this angle, we're going to get a really good look at the hit Mitch Wishnowsky takes here. He would be out for the rest of the game, and that would have an impact on the 49ers, as you'll see later. In the meantime, the Rams have set themselves up to go up big in the second quarter. Not much to diagram here. Stafford sees that he has Tyler Higbee one-on-one against Ambry Thomas and takes the shot. Higbee makes a great catch, and the Rams go up 16-0. Now, head coach Sean McVay was so excited, he ran down and celebrated with his team in the end zone. And let's just say that may have displeased the football gods. Matt Gay tacks on the extra point, and the 49ers find themselves in a big hole, 17-0. Garoppolo's tough day would continue. Now, he might have Juwan Jennings over the middle here, but again, A'Shawn Robinson is bearing down on him, and he hits Garoppolo right as he throws it. The ball sails on him, and it's intercepted. Ouch. Everything is going the Rams' way until we hit this key turning point in the second quarter. Now, the Rams only need to get to the 43-yard line here. They're just inches away. But when I said we were in the second quarter, we are late in the second quarter. There's only 49 seconds left. So they don't want to run the ball. Instead, they decide to throw a pass. And the 49ers are all over it. Now, Cam Akers might have come open late over the middle here, but Stafford doesn't have time for that. Nick Bosa and Samson Ebukam are closing in on him, and Bosa and Armstead end up cleaning up the play with the sack. 5 sacks on the day for the 49ers, a half a sack each for Bosa, Arden Key, and Fred Warner, DJ Jones with a sack, and Eric Armstead with 2.5 sacks. Shanahan calls a timeout, and he forces the Rams to punt the ball back to the 49ers, and Garoppolo's going to get a shot to try to score some points before the half with just 38 seconds to go here. Now, the route of George Kittle occupies the safety, and that opens the window from Brandon Ayuk. Now, the defender is all over Ayuk, and it's well before he's ready to make his break, but Garoppolo's going to have to throw this ball early, and this is as good a throw as you are ever going to see. Garoppolo makes things a little easier on himself by looking off the safety. Once again, the Rams leave Brandon Ayuk one-on-one. The defender sets up to the outside, so Ayuk goes to the inside. It's another nice throw by Garoppolo, who's starting to get in a rhythm a little bit. Now the clock's winding down, they don't have any timeouts, tick, tick, tick. And Garoppolo just calmly walks up to the line of scrimmage and spikes the football with 4 seconds left. That's a pretty good drive, and it leads directly to this Robbie Gould field goal, but who's going to be the holder, right? Ordinarily, it would be Mitch Wishnowsky, the punter. So who's the backup? Well, usually if your punter isn't the holder, you have the quarterback be the holder. The quarterbacks always have really good hands because they're always playing catch. But Garoppolo is injured. I don't think you want him being the holder. So the 49ers have Kyle Juszczyk as the holder for this game. And he does an excellent job, and the 49ers get a key field goal to get on the board, 17-3. Now the Rams got the ball first, so they have to kick off to the 49ers to start the second half. The Rams decide to send a blitz. Now JaMycal Hasty does stay in to help with pass protection, but in much the same way that the Rams did in the first half. He chips the defender and then goes out for a pass route. Now, what about that defender deep? Well, watch as the route of George Kittle makes him a little bit indecisive and barely opens the window for Hasty. One other thing, the Rams are still sending the blitz, and it gets home to Garoppolo, but he's able to take the hit and somehow get this ball away to Hasty. And the breaks that were going against the 49ers in the first half are starting to go their way in the second half. On the next play, the Rams again decide to send a blitz. The 49ers start with a run fake, and that has the effect of holding the linebackers. And all of that is fine. What I don't understand is what Darius Williams is doing on this play, because he just turns Brandon Ayuk completely loose. That mistake would cost the Rams 31 yards of field position. And they hand the ball off to Deebo Samuel, and he's able to outrun everyone to the corner. Touchdown, San Francisco. Let's go back to the snap and see how this play works. The 49ers start off by putting JaMycal Hasty in motion. Jordan Fuller tells Taylor Rapp to go with him, and he does. That takes one defender out of the play. Now the nose tackle Greg Gaines appears to have beaten center Alex Mack and has a clean shot at the backfield. But this is all part of the plan, and the 49ers send George Kittle around to pick him up. George Kittle and Alex Mack seal off the inside, and look at this hole Deebo Samuel has to run through. Now there's one defender left, corner David Long. What about him? Well, the block of Juwan Jennings disrupts Long. And now it's just a foot race between Deebo Samuel and Darius Williams. One last thing. The football is in Deebo's right hand. Watch as he switches it to his left hand to get this ball inside the pylon. Again, with use check holding, Robbie Gould tacks on the extra point, making the score 17-10, and folks, we got ourselves a ball game. The Rams will get the ball back and face a key 3rd down and 6. And they really wanted to pick this one up, so they leave Cam Akers in the backfield to help with pass protection. That works if the 49ers send a blitzer. But what happens if they send 2 blitzers? Because here the 49ers do something that Niner fans haven't seen very often. They send Jimmy Ward on a blitz. Now Akers can't block both of them. He has to pick one. So he decides to block Jimmy Ward, leaving Azeez Al-Shaair with a clean shot at Matt Stafford. Stafford has to get rid of it and throws a bad pass. The ball falls incomplete, and the 49ers are going to get this ball back again. The 49ers have successfully attacked the Rams through the air, and now they turn to their ground game. Let's count the number of consecutive runs the 49ers call here. Okay, here's the first one. Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell with another carry. Number 3, JaMycal Hasty. Deebo Samuel gets a carry. That's number 4. Number 5, Deebo again up the middle. Number 6, Elijah Mitchell again. Number 7. 8. Garoppolo gets a run in on the quarterback sneak. 9. 10th run in a row, Elijah Mitchell again. 11, Deebo Samuel. Oh, wait, that's not a run. It's a pass. And the 49ers have completely suckered the Rams with all those runs in a row. And they finally burn them with the halfback option pass run by a wide receiver, strangely enough. And let's take a look. This play works because Jennings sold that it was a running play. He pretends to block. In fact, he actually makes physical contact with the defender and then, only then, turns upfield for a pass. Just from a psychological standpoint, it is so hard when your opponent goes run, 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 over and over and over again, and then hits you with the halfback option pass. It's just so hard psychologically to be ready for that. And the 49ers took advantage of it. The 49ers have come all the way back from 17 down to tie this game up. And really, is there anyone on the planet that was watching us that didn't think Stafford was going to throw an interception here? Troy Aikman even sensed it, saying Stafford needs to be careful with the football. But here he's got a deep shot that he just can't resist. Skoranek is streaking down the field. The problem is this play is double covered, and Emmanuel Moseley is able to jump in front and pick this football off. Now, the officials rule him down by contact, so that return isn't going to count. But the interception does, and it is 49er football. Look at that catch. Just good stuff. Brandon Ayuk, not realizing that the play may still be live, runs out onto the field to celebrate. Fortunately for him, Moseley was already down. All right, let's move ahead to the fourth quarter. So far in this game, we've seen Deebo Samuel do it all. He can run, he can pass, and now the 49ers have him catch. He's like the Paul Hornung of the 49ers. And the most natural move here would be for him to just cut straight to the outside. But he shows some good patience here, gets his wits about him, and waits for his blockers, and then takes off. Now, Deebo said after the game if he had had his shirt tucked in, he would have scored a touchdown here. But as it so happens, Nick Scott is able to get enough of his jersey to slow him down and then eventually bring him down. But it's still a big gain for the 49ers. So far, the Rams have not been able to stop the 49ers offense. Here, Jalen Ramsey sets up to the outside, so George Kittle goes to the inside. But the ball gets tipped up in the air and bobbled, and Ramsey comes down with it. Now right here, he should have gone down in the end zone, and the ball would have come out to the 20-yard line on a touchback. You can see his teammates were a little bit surprised because he runs it out and he's stopped at the 8-yard line. That is not so good. Now after this play, Garoppolo was complaining. He thought that the Rams had hit him on the head illegally, and there it is. He was absolutely correct. This should have been a 15-yard personal foul, automatic first down. But at the same time, Garoppolo has to throw a better pass than this. This is behind Kittle, and it allowed Ramsey to make a play on it and then eventually intercept it. So the Rams get a big break here, but they've got to get out from the shadow of their own goalpost. And here Sean McVay takes a page out of Kyle Shanahan's playbook, handing the ball off to Cooper Kupp. And the 49ers seem to think that Akers has the ball. Charles Omenihu realizes his mistake too late because Cooper Kupp is off to the races with a blocker out in front. Stafford would follow that up by throwing his best pass of the game. Now the 49ers have pretty good coverage here, it would seem, but it's all one-on-one, and the 49ers only have one safety back deep. That's because the 49ers decided to send a blitz, and that blitz is about to get home to Stafford. So Stafford starts his throwing motion early because he's going to fling this ball out to Cooper Kupp, and this would be a beautiful pass, perfect chemistry between quarterback and receiver, and it burns the 49ers for another big play. One interesting thing to note here is the 49ers had Jimmy Ward on coverage on Cooper Kupp, and they played Dante Johnson at safety for this play. This was due to injuries to Jaquiski Tart and Talanoa Hufanga. Stafford would cap this drive off with another great pass. Again, it's one-on-one coverage, and again, Stafford has started his throwing motion because again, Cooper Kupp has gotten behind Jimmy Ward. And look at that throw. Unbelievably good. Now this would put the Rams up 24-17, and look at the clock. There's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game, so the 49ers have to respond, and they have to respond now. It's third down, and the 49ers need to convert if they want to keep this drive going. Now Garoppolo has Hasty underneath, but he needs to get to the 35-yard line to get to a first down. He's not going to make it. Not to mention Garoppolo's not really looking for him yet. Hasty's only there if Garoppolo gets in trouble. Of course, Garoppolo has to know he's in trouble, and when the pressure comes from the blind side, he doesn't know he's in trouble. And that's why the left tackle position is the most important position in football. You're the one protecting the quarterback's blind side. And here, Von Miller understandably beats Colton McKivitz and has a clean shot at Garoppolo and sacks him for a big loss. This would really put the 49ers in a big hole because it's 4th down and 18 and we've reached the 2-minute warning. So what do you do here? Do you punt the ball away or do you go for it on 4th and 18? If you're looking for analytics to help you, they're not going to be of much help. This one was a toss-up because you're basically screwed either way. Now, the 49ers do have all 3 of their timeouts left, so they decide to punt this ball away, but remember, Mitch Wishnowsky is back in the locker room. Robbie Gould is going to have to punt this football, and I hate to break it to you, but Robbie Gould isn't a very good punter. That's why he's the field goal kicker. But here he gets off a great punt, just what the 49ers need, and they have a chance. They have a very slim chance. If you believe some of the statistics that were out there, it was a 0.4% chance. I saw about a 5% chance at the numbers I was looking at, but either way, it's not good. They're going to have to stop the Rams on all 3 downs. Personally, I thought this game was over, but the defense was up to the task. The Rams decide to run the ball on 1st down, and the 49ers call timeout. On 2nd down, the Rams decide to run the ball again, and the 49ers call another timeout. Now, what would you do here on 3rd down? Would you run the ball again and force the 49ers to use that last timeout? Or would you throw a pass and try to get the 1st down and win the game right here? Here, the Rams decide to run the ball. Now, Cooper Kupp comes around, but he misses the block on Emmanuel Mosley. Mosley doesn't get the tackle on Akers, but he does slow him down enough for Dante Johnson to come around the corner and make the play. The Rams are going to have to punt this ball back to the 49ers. The problem for the 49ers is they're going to have to drive the length of the field in 1:27 with no timeouts. And there's the fair catch at the 12-yard line. That's how far they have to go to tie this game. Would Garoppolo be up to the task? Great players aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be. Look at the top of the screen and notice how much space Jalen Ramsey is giving to Brandon Ayuk. That looks real tempting, but the Niners got to move that safety out of there somehow. So at the snap, watch Garoppolo as he looks to his left, and darned if the safety doesn't move over in that direction. Now that's a big time completion, and in these circumstances, when you have no timeouts and you have to go the length of the field, that is a great way to start. Here the Rams make a mistake when both Taylor Rapp and Jalen Ramsey step up to defend George Kittle. Why? Notice how the route of Debo disrupts the coverage of Taylor Rapp. Garoppolo has Kittle wide open here for some yardage and the sideline to get out of bounds and stop the clock. So Jalen Ramsey figures, well, I'll just step up and defend Kittle. But in doing so, he completely turns Debo Samuel loose, and that's a big problem. But Garoppolo has a problem of his own, as the pass rush looks like it's closing in on him. But watch as he calmly steps up in the pocket and delivers a great throw to Debo down the field. Makes a man miss, makes a second man miss, and he is barely wrapped up by Ramsey after gaining 43 yards on the play. Ramsey had that great interception earlier in the game, but he's been burned more often than not by Garoppolo in this game and also in other games over the years. Now watch at the end of this play as the team runs down to spike the ball. There's the snap, and you can see here's the line of scrimmage, and there's definitely a player in the neutral zone. It might look like his foot is just barely on the line there, but the neutral zone is actually defined by the length of the football, and he is definitely in that neutral zone, and that is offsides on the defense. And we've seen this before in the NFL. Let's go back to the 1961 NFL Championship game. There he is, Bart Starr. There's 27 seconds left. He hits a big pass down the field. He finally goes down, and now the team has to run up and throw an incomplete pass to stop the clock. That's what they used to do before they started spiking it. The Giants are having a little bit of trouble getting back and lining up right, and there it is. Here's the line of scrimmage. Here's the snap of the ball, and you can clearly see some Giants players in the neutral zone at the snap. This would be an offsides penalty, 5 yards against the defense, just like in the Niners game, and just like in the Niners game, it would stop the clock. In this case, with 2 seconds left, giving the Packers time to try a field goal right before the end of the half, and you guys have got to see this field goal. That kick would put them up 24-0. Amazing how things have changed in the league. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. And here you see the Rams doing the same thing that the Giants did. And the same result, like I said, it stops the clock for the 49ers, and they are in business. Brandon Ayuk heads for the end zone, and he is a major threat. He must be defended, and he draws 2 defenders. Jawan Jennings gives Taylor Rapp a little move to the outside, and when Rapp heads in that direction, Jennings takes the space the defense left behind. Touchdown 49ers. Garoppolo delivers. 7 plays, 88 yards, 61 seconds with no timeouts. That is the drive of a lifetime. And folks, now before we make it official, they got to hit this extra point. Again, Kyle Juszczyk is the holder. And Kyle Juszczyk, he practices with the special teams unit every Thursday, And that practice pays off because we are going to overtime. The 49ers get the ball into the hands of their best playmaker right away, handing the ball off to Deebo Samuel. George Kittle will set the edge. Deebo will go around the corner with Jeff Wilson Jr. as his lead blocker on the play. Now the Rams asked the officials to throw a flag for holding on George Kittle, and they didn't get it. Let's take a look from this angle and see why they might not have gotten that call. Okay, for one thing, now it's close, but we see that Kittle has his hands on the inside of the body, inside the framework. You're generally not going to get that holding call. Now that's a tough no call if you're a Rams fan or player. So to show you what I mean, let's take a look at another play later on in the same drive where holding was called. Now here you can clearly see the hands of Dan Brunskill outside the framework of the body. He prevents the player from tackling Elijah Mitchell, and this penalty would be called. That's the difference in holding calls in the NFL most of the time, although it is admittedly a very unpredictable penalty that is often called or not called when it should be. So on third down, Garoppolo goes to one of his most trusted receivers, Jennings. Watch as Jennings gives the defender a very subtle move to the inside and then breaks outside. And he just understands separation. Garoppolo gets him the football, he makes him miss on his way all the way down to the 24-yard line for a 34-yard gain on the play. Wow. A few plays later, they would have a 1st and goal, and here they put the ball into the hands of Elijah Mitchell. And they don't do anything too fancy with their blocking here, just putting a hat on a hat and asking Mitchell to go around to the outside. They're going to make the defense run sideline to sideline here, a defense that is gassed. Now, one thing I would have liked to have seen is Charlie Warner pick up Darius Williams here. Instead, he heads out to take on the safety Nick Scott, and Williams is able to come around and make the play. I don't know if Mitchell would have made it to the end zone had he done that. It's just something they could have done differently. It's good defense by the Rams, and it brings up a 2nd and goal. Now, of course, it's imperative for the Rams to keep the 49ers out of the end zone as a touchdown ends the game. So the Niners naturally hand the ball to deadly threat Deebo Samuel. Earlier in this video, we praised Deebo for waiting for his blockers. But here he gets a little impatient and tries to run through the hole before Kittle can get over there to help him. Now again, the Rams were all over this. This is just good defense. So it would bring up a key 3rd down and goal. And with the defense bearing down on Garoppolo, he takes the natural throw to Kittle. Troy Aikman felt like he should have gone to Deebo Samuel. I'm not so sure I agree with that opinion. The defender is all over Deebo, and the most important thing here is to preserve the field goal. That's true, if the Niners settle for 3 points, the Rams will have the right to match. But if they don't match, then by rule the Niners would win the game. So they have to at least get 3. In my opinion, this is a good decision by Garoppolo. He takes what the defense gives him and gives his team a chance to win. A great drive in overtime for the 49ers. Once again, it will be up to Kyle Juszczyk and Robbie Gould to make it happen. And they execute flawlessly. It's been a tough year for the special teams, but here, when the team needs them the most, they come through in the clutch, and the Niners take the lead 27-24. If the Rams don't at least kick a field goal on this possession, they will lose. Now I want you to look at the top of your screen at the position Ambry Thomas has on Odell Beckham Jr. Now here we see that Beckham Jr. has gotten past Ambry Thomas, but Thomas is able to come down with the game-winning interception. Now, it's been suggested that Odell Beckham Jr. burned Ambry Thomas, and if Stafford could have just put that ball out in front of him, that might have been a big play for the Rams. And I completely disagree with that assessment. Let's go back to the snap. Stafford sees that Thomas is in one-on-one coverage against Odell Beckham Jr., so he decides to take a shot, and I'm totally okay with that. But Thomas sees Stafford throw this football, and he is in great position this entire time. The bottom line is Thomas is the one who adjusted to the football, while Beckham Jr. did not. That's why he made the play, and he takes a big step in his development. The 49ers are excited about this young rookie, and you've just seen why. He just won the game for the 49ers. Ambry Thomas sends the 49ers to the playoffs. What a great game for the 49ers, because this was, in every sense of the cliche, a team effort. The defense played great. Both corners, Emmanuel Mosley and Ambry Thomas, got an interception. The defensive line had 5 sacks, and they held the Rams to just 2.4 yards per rush. And you may not know this, but the 49ers have the #1 run defense since Week 6 in the NFL. On the offensive side of the football, Brandon Ayuk had 107 receiving yards, and Deebo Samuel had 95, and Juwan Jennings had 94. How are teams going to defend that? Deebo also had 45 yards rushing, and 24 yards passing, and a passing touchdown. The guy can do it all. The 49ers were even prepared to have him return kicks in this game. He is, I said it before, he's like a modern-day Paul Hornung. It's fitting that we looked at a game from the 61 Packers while reviewing this film. Kyle Juszczyk was awesome as a holder. You think about how important each and every one of those holds were, because every point mattered in this game. Robbie Gould and the special teams delivered. Robbie Gould, I can't say enough about him. You know, he's missed some kicks this year, and it's been kind of frustrating at times, but he delivered in this game, making every field goal, every extra point, and also punting the football, something he's not used to doing, and he came up big in the clutch. Special teams has had a hard year this year, but they got it done today, and I tip my hat to them for sure. And of course, the other guy we got to talk about on offense, Elijah Mitchell. All those broken runs he had, go back and look at all of those runs. He broke tackles. He's just a phenomenal athlete. 49ers struck gold with their rookie draft class this year. And finally, last but definitely not least, Jimmy Garoppolo. When the chips were down, when it looked like everything was going against him, he stayed cool, and he came up big time in the clutch. And maybe we shouldn't be surprised. After all, it's something we've seen him do over and over and over again. He always seems to be able to go down the field and get that last-second touchdown when we need it the most. That is going to be a big asset in the playoffs. Also worth noting, I think this is Shanahan's best coached game. He made great use of his personnel. His play calling was phenomenal for the entire game, and he stuck with the run even when the 49ers were down, something he hasn't always done this year. It paid dividends in this game. And really, this game shows what sets the 49ers apart from other teams in the NFL. You think about all their injuries coming into the game. Trent Williams, of course Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb, and then the wild nature of this game. This team really does thrive in chaos. Think back to that Minnesota Vikings game. And it begs the question, are the Dallas Cowboys going to be able to keep pace with that? Now, we know Dallas has a great D, but I think Shanahan will be able to scheme around that. And of course, 49er fans can do their part? Is there a Dallas takeover I see in the future? I think it's entirely possible. Well, folks, I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys are great. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Tell your friends about it. It takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could give me just 2 seconds and hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. All right, it's going to be Niners and Cowboys. The old rivalry renewed. It's the playoffs. There is nothing in the world like playoff NFL football. And we are going to be there to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.